All right. Welcome back to Mad Maddies and First and Mad right here at 8100 West Sahara in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Brad Michaels, joined again with Jesse and Floody. Welcome to the show, guys. How's it going?
Good.
Yeah.
Going well, brother. Yeah. Another week of football.
Oh, yes, exactly.
Another exciting week of football,
Oh,
as a
man.
matter of fact. And this week marked the trade deadline. So we're gonna talk tonight a lot about the trade deadline. We talked about this last week about we thought that the NFL should actually push that back probably to Black Friday. A lot of talk about that in the NFL this week and every show I've listened to or watched.
Mhm.
And we've also got some huge news in regards to what affects us here in the local market, the Las Vegas Raiders, and what happened on Tuesday night, as a matter of fact,
Yes.
about 10:30, I think
it was late. It was late.
It was late, and the Raiders are a little late because I believe aren't they playing the previous coach and this coach now?
Oh,
That's great.
my
That's
gosh,
great.
man.
Way to help your payroll.
And the funny
everything
thing
else.
is, though, is that
Clowns.
if you look at it, I saw something today. It said that Mark Davis, based on all of the coaches that he's hired, the contracts that he's been paying them, the length of the contracts, the coaches' contracts are all guaranteed.
Yes.
So you fire a coach, you're still paying him.
Still paying him.
He's paying $80 million right now for guys that aren't even coaching his team.
They're sunning themselves in sunny Miami.
Oh,
Wait to
man.
see if the Miami Dolphins need a coach or Tampa or Jacksonville.
I believe with the way that works, though, is if they do land another job.
I
Then-
think
yeah,
then,
then
it's wiped out.
yeah, it's
But
wiped out
If,
after
if
that.
they don't take a job, I mean,
Absolutely.
Need me in 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. I'm on vacation, baby.
well, in the
Can't
case
do
of Josh McDaniels, he could sit around for 4 years
And
and
literally
take care of his
relax,
kids,
yeah.
enjoy life with his family, and then think about
I
coming
think that's
back into
what
the
was
league.
the coach for Arizona last year? He did the same thing, did he not? He just took off. He said,
Kingsbury?
I'm leaving. Yeah,
Yeah.
Kingsbury. He left he was like, I'm gonna go tour the world a little bit.
Yep.
Take some time off.
Smart man. Smart man.
Well, anything that either one of you guys have on your mind before we get into talking about the trade deadline?
No, we got a great Thursday night game going on so far. They got the Titans and the Steelers going, and listen, it's a pretty good game so far
Well, I'll leave it open for Floody to announce the score at this point.
Oh, well, thank you
because it's
very
one of
much,
his favorites.
brother. Yeah. We have the Tennessee Titans up 13, leading the Pittsburgh Steelers. There we go. Sorry out there, you Pittsburgh fans. Come
well,
on, I
that's all
got
right.
you in a.
It's
In
the
a pick 'em
podcast and
podcast.
everything is all fun in podcasts until somebody loses an eyebrow.
That's our Steeler fan here.
All right. So anyway, back to the trade deadline. We'll get started on this. Trade deadline was at 4 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday. 6 trades went down that
Yes.
day. First thoughts on that? Well, actually, the Washington Commanders, big movers.
Yes. Oh, they were big moves.
Montez Sweat, that was the first trade. That was to Chicago. And then later in the day, the San Francisco 49ers stepped up to the plate and they took Chase Young.
It's a pretty good pick. I mean, Chase Young came out second overall pick. There was a lot of promise for him. Didn't really make it because of injuries.
Yeah, he's had the injury
He's
problem.
had the injury problem. And getting him for a third round on a team that's ready to win right now, I think that was a great idea. Get the pass rush going. That's what they've been lacking during this 3-game losing streak. I think trying to get that corrected, I think they'll right the ship.
Yeah, I think, what was it? Is it 2020 was the last time that Chase Young played double-digit games?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
What we talked about last week was Washington being sellers.
Right.
They were going to
Yes.
get rid of guys. 2 good guys go to 2 good teams that I think are, well, the Bears aren't that very good, but I think it's a real good move for
But the Bears
Niners
were
and everything.
buyers. The Bears
Yeah,
were buyers.
they were
was
buyers.
interesting.
That was
They
very
can
interesting
still
to
sneak
see.
in there.
And I think they think they've got a
I think
shot
with
this
Cousins
kid
going
Badger.
down, with Cousins going down, I think that opens the door
That's
for them
It
possibly
definitely
trying to
does,
get
but I
there.
think Detroit now is just going to put their foot on the gas pedal, and it's going to be over before we know it. And Green Bay, let's face it, Green Bay is just struggling. I don't see anything happening in Green Bay. It's going to change anything for them.
No.
I was a little bit shocked though to see Chicago being buyers. I wasn't shocked. I wasn't shocked to see Washington as sellers.
No,
I was just shocked that they sent Montez Sweat and Chase Young. So that tells me they're definitely punting. They're looking to rebuild.
they're
and they
looking
got a
right
new
now.
owner, so maybe it does make sense.
Right.
Maybe it does
And
make
they're
sense.
probably looking maybe have a game down in
Oh,
Florida
yeah,
somewhere and half the team will go missing down there.
But hey, if you are playing fantasy, Sam Howell now is a guy to start in fantasy football because he will be in every kind of shootout imaginable this week.
He's definitely gonna try. That's a big problem they got is that
Yeah,
defense
need a
down there in
backup.
Washington.
Yeah.
There's a few clubs out of the playoff race that we didn't see a ton of sellers. I thought we would see more. I thought, and I was really shocked because I even said it last week on the show. I thought with the Dolphins, the way their offensive line looked, and I said it at one point last week. I told one of my buddies as a former player, I said, if we lose any more offensive linemen in this game, Chase Claypool is going to be out there playing on the offensive line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but you had clubs like Denver, Carolina, and New England sat pat.
Yeah, they sat still. They didn't really do much.
Didn't do a
I
thing.
think I told you about New England. I mean, what are you going to sell? So more
Well,
than sell.
they
They've
had
got nothing to sell.
they had Bourne, but he ended up getting hurt, so they couldn't sell that one. That was
No.
rotten goods.
Well, I thought they could have sold something. What are your thoughts on the 49ers picking up Chase Young?
I think that's a huge move for him. I love the pickup. The huge pass rush he can provide if he stays healthy is going to be phenomenal. Especially that's what's been lacking. They've got to get back to where they are winning games. That's the pass rush, run the football,
Right.
control the clock.
Yep.
Purdy is throwing the ball entirely way too much.
Yep.
They're
Purdy
trying
is
to put too much on
definitely
that arm.
missing Debo Samuel.
Yes.
If you
absolutely.
notice, the last 3 games he hasn't had Debo, and that's when he's always out there. He's always looking for Debo.
Yes.
Because Debo's going to be there, and he hasn't been there. And they're on a 3-game
Yeah.
slide. I
Trent
didn't
Williams
see that
missing
coming.
too has been huge too. That
Yeah.
left tackle.
Yeah.
That's been
That's
huge.
that's probably the biggest.
That's the biggest
problem
one.
for them. He just doesn't have the time. He's back there running for his
Yes.
life. Let's see. So the Commanders just pick up a 2024 third-round pick. Do you think Young is a rental? Or do you
I think
the 49ers
I think he has to be a rental just because of their salary cap situation. They definitely went out and paid a lot of guys. Bosa got the big contract. Debo recently got the big contract. It's gonna be huge because Trent Williams is a huge part of that. They want to keep him around. Eventually, you're going to have to pay Purdy. So now you have to win now before that contract comes up.
And 49ers fans, obviously, they're freaking out. Oh, Purdy sucks. Oh, Purdy sucks.
Yeah,
I'm like,
listen.
the dude's only lost 3 games
Exactly.
as a starter since he came into the league.
And if you look at it, he's played
But
pretty
it
much a
was the last
season.
3 games.
Yeah, it's the last 3 games. Exactly. So it's hey, it's the freshest
Purdy will
mind,
be
right?
All right.
He'll
I
be
agree
fine.
with you.
He's going to be
I've
fine.
got to get Samuel back, and I think you need to turn around and run the ball a little bit more, and control the
Absolutely.
ball,
Sure.
and don't have him so much passing.
But the thing is they went away from the run game
Yes.
a little bit because they had overused McCaffrey and he was banged up. And what do? You keep running him and risk that he's going to be completely injured and out for the playoffs?
I don't understand that because they have 3 solid backs there.
Right.
You have Mitchell, and you have the young kid. I'm drawing a blank on his name now. The 3rd string running back. He
can't
came
think of his
in,
name.
but he looked good when Mitchell was hurt.
Right. Start using them all.
Yeah, I mean, start using those running backs.
So you notice that in the league wide, these teams, they don't put an emphasis on the running back. They use a running back by committee. And I'm going to tell you something. Other than the fact that you now have the emergency 3rd quarterback, so a lot of teams are going to make sure that they use based on what happened to Purdy last
Mhm.
year. I think you're going to see a lot of teams in the National Football League going to 4 running backs on the active roster,
I could see that.
I can see that.
or
too.
3 and a fullback. So,
The biggest thing with Chase Young, though, is the pass rush has to be there because they've gotten exposed in the secondary the last 3 weeks.
well, he could be a guy like you look at Bradley Chubb and you look at Jalen Phillips in Miami, and then you throw Andrew Van Ginkel in there. But when Phillips was out, Chubb's going to get double teamed. Now, Chubb's probably still going to get double teamed, but now you've got 3 solid pass rushers. And now with San Francisco, with Bosa and now Young, you got 2 really quality guys and probably some other linebackers.
I mean, Armstead has been great in the middle, and then you get the linebackers, Greenlaw. I mean, he's been huge all year, and I love how Greenlaw plays. He plays with such great attitude. I mean, he is a force on that field.
Coming back to the Commanders and their trades, Sweat going to the Bears. Bears obviously I see him becoming a long-term player for the Bears. I don't think he's a rental because
No.
I don't think the Bears seriously think that they're going to make a deep playoff run, even if they make the playoffs. They've got to be thinking about putting Montez Sweat on their active roster for a couple of years.
Oh,
down
you
the
have
road.
to. You have
and
if you're
reworking
making that trade, you
contract.
have to trade and you have to settle him in and lock him up long term. There's no other reason for this trade.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of. This
I agree, unless he's going to be more trade bait later. But
and that's always possible.
right. But I think
well, as they sit right now, what they have, they're slotted to have the number 2 and number 3 pick in the draft right now. So listen, they're sitting pretty. Whatever they would decide they want to do, they're going to get 2 great players in the draft.
Well, and they got a second round pick for Sweat.
Mhm.
The Commanders did. So very interesting. The Vikings, they found a new quarterback that, out of desperation, you have to. Kirk Cousins going down with the Achilles tear in the Monday night game. And it was a horrible play. It didn't even look, there was no major contact.
No contact.
That I saw. He just came up lame, which can happen. So they go out for a 2024 7th round pick that they get. And they're also getting quarterback Joshua Dobbs. And the Arizona Cardinals are only getting a 2024 6th round pick.
Yeah, I mean, it's Joshua Dobbs playing for his 3rd team of the season. But if anybody can learn a 3rd playbook, it's going to be Joshua Dobbs. I mean, he's an actual rocket science. I mean, I believe he has his major in college. He graduated. It's literally aerospace engineering. So, I mean, literally, the kid is a genius. So, if anybody can learn that playbook quick, it's going to be Joshua Dobbs.
Josh, I need somebody to do AI. By the way, we forgot, Bloody, happy birthday.
Yes.
It was on
Yes,
Tuesday.
that's right. Yep.
Thank you very much.
Doesn't look a day over 80.
Thank you.
All right. We want to talk about also the Seahawks got a defensive lineman. They ended up picking up Leonard Williams. They got him from the Giants. So the Giants were sellers in this. The Giants are going to get a 2024 2nd round pick and a 2025 5th round pick. So do you think that had anything to do with the 49ers going ruh-roh?
You had to. I mean, the Seahawks are sitting on top of the division. Why not? You're built to win right now. Geno Smith's playing great ball.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
wide receivers are really starting to click. That their 1st round pick in JSN finally gets that cast off his hand. He's looking a lot better. You've got 3 good weapons receiving wise, and you have 2 solid running backs. You got to play to win now.
And you just saw San Fran that was ahead of you stumble the last 3 weeks. So
Yes.
why not?
Mm-hmm.
You're in striking.
Yeah,
distance
exactly.
right now.
Well, they have a chance to take very good command of that
Absolutely.
of that division.
Absolutely.
I don't know if they take command of the league, but the Philadelphia Eagles fans are all panicking because they lost a game. It's like, seriously?
Now, the Seahawks will be contenders. Listen, with that offense, and if you can solidify a decent defense and stop the run and make teams one-dimensional, they'll be just fine.
Speaking of losing games, let's go to this one. There's another one where the fan base is freaking out. The Kansas City Chiefs laid 9 points on the Denver Broncos heading into their game against the Dolphins, who laid 70 on the Broncos. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs fans are freaking out like, uh-oh, we got a problem in Kansas City. And of course, they traded last week. They got
Hardman.
They got him back in the fray. So I don't see a major problem with the Chiefs. Obviously, I guess Mahomes had the flu. Probably
Yes.
shouldn't even have played that game.
It was the comeback of the flu.
And
Haven't seen the flu
5
in a while.
turnovers. You turned the ball over 5 times in the National Football League. You're probably not going to win
Not
the
gonna
game.
win.
So,
Well, there was no Taylor Swift at the game, so they were doomed. They were doomed to lose. There was no Taylor. There was no Tay-Tay at the game.
It was the Taylor Swift jinx. That's exactly what it was.
The Swifty fans were all disappointed.
Well, thinking about Kansas City, I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon with their fans and everything else, but I think they got some things to worry about. And one of the things I'm going to tell you they worry about, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yes,
I think
they are red
I think
hot
the
right
entire
now.
AFC needs to worry about the Bengals.
Yes,
And I'll tell you
believe
what's
so.
going to hurt the Chiefs, losing Nick Bolton.
Oh,
Now, he's
yeah.
only out,
yeah.
what, about 6 weeks with that dislocated wrist? But that's
It's a huge loss for 'em. Huge
especially
loss
with some
for
of the teams in the AFC that you got to come up against.
Yeah.
And the weapons that they have. All right. Anything else, guys, on the trade deadline? Because there really wasn't a whole lot.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole big splash. I think every year, you know what it was? I think we got spoiled last year with the McCaffrey trade. The McCaffrey trade came in, and everyone was waiting for that big splash
names,
trade,
big splashes,
that big
yeah.
name, and it just never happened. But it was a typical trading deadline day.
I think the big thing, though, they need, you've heard it all week. We talked about it last week. Push it back.
They need to
Push
extend it.
it back.
All right,
looks like
Steelers have
Pittsburgh,
just
Pittsburgh
scored a
just scored.
touchdown.
Steelers Pickens. They finally threw
So they
Pickens
will
the
take
ball.
the lead, and the extra point will make it 17-13.
There we go.
And I just jinxed the kicker for the extra point. So, all right, coming to some local news that will affect everybody here in the Las Vegas area. Well, if you're a Raiders fan, Tuesday night, was it 10:30? About 10:30, wasn't it? Tuesday night, Mark Davis made the decision that he was going to fire
Yeah, that's true.
head coach Josh McDaniels and general manager David Ziegler, and they also fired their offensive coordinator. Now, I heard something very interesting on this because the scuttlebutt all across the league, and even the Vegas casinos, I guess, as far as the odds-on favorite to be the first mid-season coach to be fired would have been Ron Rivera of the Washington Commanders. Well, it was Josh McDaniels, so
Yeah.
out the window went that one. Here's one of the things that I heard on the radio all this week, and this morning I heard it especially put this way. Josh McDaniels, as most coaches, he had full control of his roster. He decides if a guy's going to start or sit. You got an owner in Mark Davis. You got a rookie quarterback in O'Connell. Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Mark Davis probably said, hey, you know what? Doesn't look like we're going anywhere. We look like a complete, you know what, show. Let's put the kid in there. Let's see what he's got. Garoppolo's banged up. Let's see what we got in this young kid. McDaniels says, I got full control of the roster. Davis fires him, says, who's got control now?
Yeah. No. Yeah, he didn't want to play the kid. He did not want to play the kid. He,
So the
he
kid's
even
going to
chose
start from now on.
he even chose Hoyer over the kid there when Garoppolo was out. So, yeah, I mean, you got to see what you got. The Raiders aren't going anywhere this year. Everybody knows that. You've got to see what you got in some of these young talents and see what you need to build into the draft.
Is Mark Davis the new Jerry Jones Jr.?
I'm
You know
wondering
what I
either
mean?
that or Daniel Snyder.
Oh, yeah,
Have you
exactly.
seen the coaches that he's had since he
Oh,
took over
It's
the
been
team?
bad. It
And
has
the
been
best
bad.
coach you had was Jack Del Rio, right?
Yeah.
Jack Del Rio was the only coach who had a winning record.
Yep.
But you go after the shiny new object, or actually the shiny return
The
object,
return
all the
object,
way
yeah,
over here to get Gruden, and then you see what happened with Gruden.
Right.
So was it a mistake? First of all, two mistakes. Number one, you got rid of Del Rio to bring in John Gruden.
Mhm.
When John Gruden is gone, you had Rich Bisaccia, who was able to get that team actually into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And
Never got
then you
another
gave him
shot.
an interview, but then showed him the door.
Yeah.
And I thought that he had earned the chance. Now I know he was a
Least for a
special
year.
teams coach.
Give him one
Give him
year.
1 year.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to give him
Over
a shot.
team. He got him into the playoffs. He got him going the right direction. What the
Obviously,
hell?
the-
give
the-
the guy a shot for a year. Put
the-
him under a 1-year contract and see what he
Yeah,
does.
the locker
If he
room
gets
loved
back
him.
to the playoffs or move some things and things happen.
Now you can move
Now
on.
you got a different
Yeah.
story. Or if things don't happen, they go down the shitter, then you can move on.
Well, then you still just go ahead and move on. And, and I see teams do this all the time. And now, because look at Dan Campbell. He's in Detroit. He went to New Orleans
Mhm.
for a while there after he had been the Dolphins interim coach when they fired Sleepy Joe Philbin.
Yep.
And he fired that team up. And all the players in the locker room loved him, just like the Raiders players loved Rich Bisaccia. He doesn't get the head coaching job, but look at him now with Detroit. And Rich Bisaccia is going to get a chance.
Yes.
I think he's going to get a chance. So Antonio Pierce, Pro Bowler, linebacker, New York Giants. He is now the interim coach of the Raiders.
Yep.
What do you think? What do you think of the chances with him? I just don't think the
Well,
Raiders
his
have enough
his
talent.
head coaching experience is basically that high school team he had in Northern California,
Well,
correct?
he's only been a coach in the National
Yeah,
Football League
for
for 2 years.
2 years. So I mean, this should be this feels like last year's hiring in Indianapolis is what it feels like.
Oh, yeah. When they did it with who was the big
The center.
the center for the
Oh, yes,
Packers and
yeah,
the Colts.
yes.
Saturday,
Jeff
Jeff
Saturday.
Saturday.
that's
They
exactly
brought
what
him
this
in.
sounds
But that
like.
was the one of the craziest things I think I've ever seen.
Oh, we're gonna see it again here live in
Hey,
Las Vegas.
It might be a jolt for that first game, just like it was in Indy last year. And then hey, we'll play for a draft pick.
All right. anything else on the Raiders? I mean, that's our hometown team. It's probably something we should talk about
Well,
more often here.
Yeah, they've got a lot of things that they've got to get right. I mean, you have a good, solid running back in Josh Jacobs, who you seem to can't keep get going. The offensive line has really struggled this year in run protection, and it's just not working. Whatever offensive formula McDaniels put in is just, you got to wash it clean. I don't know where you go. They brought up the quarterbacks coaches and they made him the offensive coordinator. I'm not really familiar with him, so I don't know what style of offense he's looking to implement. And this late in the year, hey, who knows what this offense?
Well, I think if I could say anything at all in regards to that, I think Mark Davis is a little too hands-on. I think owners in this league, look, you got the money, open up the checkbook and pay the players, but bring in a seasoned veteran to be your general manager. Let your general manager then hire the head coach.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to do it, instead of hiring. How many times has he gone out, hired a head
coach, and then
brings in a general manager? That's a little bit bass-ackwards.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, look at this haircut, man. Looks like a bowl chop. Somebody put a bowl on that.
I got a really good hairstyle.
Go to a barber and get something.
How do you think he affords to make the payroll, man? He saves money on the haircut.
Yeah, he goes to Mo Howard or the Three Stooges and that bowl chop. Jeez. Yeah. Hey, come on, man. That looks awful.
I'm looking at NFL Network on the internet here, and I don't see.
The
They
score
called
is-
that.
I guess
called
they
it
took the
back.
touchdown back, so it
And
is
they had to
13-13.
settle for 3.
They had to settle for the
so
field
they had to
goal.
settle for
Okay.
the field goal. All right.
And it's still in the third quarter.
Speaking of which, while we're talking on this game, what are you guys' thoughts on Will Levis?
I like the kid.
The game and a half he's played now. He's looked really, really good. I got to admit, he looks poised.
I like the kid. I think they need to figure out, though, and maybe it is a little bit long in the tooth for an NFL running back. Maybe Derrick Henry's slowing down a little bit. He's not quite the same guy, but he did score a touchdown earlier tonight, so I'll give him that. But yeah, this is one of those interesting games. And this is, to be honest with you, this is a game against two teams that I don't see the Tennessee Titans even making the playoffs. The Steelers maybe, but they're in that AFC North.
That's
Steelers win this game, they got a shot.
They got a shot.
Puts them
Yeah.
5-3.
Oh yeah, puts them at 5-3,
And
right
they're
behind them.
moving in the right direction. They lose this game, and you probably start looking towards next year.
Yeah, because you got to play
Pittsburgh.
Baltimore. You still got to play Cincinnati. You got Cleveland another
Yeah.
game. It's going to be rough. All right, let's go to this week's matchups. Any one of the games that you guys have looked at that are coming up this week stand out to you the most?
Well, you got to go with the Germany game. Between your Dolphins and the Chiefs. I'm interested to see how that goes.
I think the Dolphins get a little bit of an edge there in a sense that it's not in Kansas City.
Mhm.
Oh, I
You know
agree
what
with
I
you
mean?
there. And I'll give them one more edge. They left on Monday.
Yes.
So
The
they're
Chiefs
getting
left today.
all the better.
So
So
the
they took a
Dolphins
little
have
page
been-
out of Jacksonville for that 2 weeks they spent
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Get acclimated.
the
Yeah,
time,
absolutely.
Find out who's got the better fish and chips. Go and see if you can sell some toothbrushes on the side because them English don't use toothbrushes.
Oh.
But I think it's an advantage a little bit to the Dolphins, and I'll be pulling for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
There
I'll
you
be
go.
pulling
That's
for the
Patriot
Patriots.
Pulling
Let's
for the
see.
fish.
Oh, well, the Patriots get the Commanders this weekend at home.
Yeah.
So I'll be rooting for the Patriots in that game.
Oh, well, thanks, brother. Probably be 3-0.
I do. It
Might be a
could be one
snowplow
of those
game.
games. It
Yes.
could be one of those.
Yeah.
Another
better hope for
snowplow
weather.
game.
You
They got
better hope for
anybody
weather,
running the equipment up
Yeah,
there? It's on a
exactly.
furlough from the
Yeah,
state
they got
prison?
somebody on
They got a
standby.
couple
You know
of
that.
coming out of Walpole
Oh.
State Prison.
Back to the Dolphin game. I will tell you, actually, it's not the Dolphin game. I do have to do a shout out. I got a buddy of mine, Chris Barker. I've shown you guys a picture of Chris. He's like 6'8", 6'9", something like that. He's been a Dolphin fan his whole life. He's been going to the games with his mom. They not only go to every single home game, they've gone to every single away game.
Oh wow.
Even the ones in London. They're in Frankfurt right now. They are going to a party. It's an alumni party in Frankfurt on Saturday night, where Chris is going to find out whether or not he has been nominated as the Miami Dolphins choice for NFL fan of the year.
Oh, nice. Well, hey, good luck to you there. Good
Yeah.
luck.
I'm
Yeah,
hoping
very
You
nice.
showed me the pictures of that.
Yeah,
That's
very
awesome.
nice. That is awesome. That's a great one.
luck.
Good.
If
So
we
I'm
can
hoping-
vote, I vote for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I will definitely let everybody know how to vote for him if he is indeed the nominee. We'll make that announcement next week if that happens. And I mean, I'm telling you, there's so many of the former players. I mean, they all know him. The current players,
That's
they
awesome.
get a selfie every week with Jerome Baker. Jerome
Oh, that's
comes
cool.
over, finds them, grabs mom's phone, and goes. So,
That's awesome. That's great.
so they have a
Very
lot of
cool.
great pictures. So, Chris, good luck to you. I'm hoping I'll talk to you on Saturday, and you're going to let me know whether or not you're the guy for the Dolphins this year. All right, so let's go into. We're going to come back and talk about the Dolphins game at the end of the show.
Okay.
All right, because I think that's probably the biggest matchup of the week.
And other than this game here, which Henry's looking like he's
Oh,
running like
right.
from the
He's looking-
past.
Well, it's getting
This
cold.
game
It's getting
he's-
cold
he's
outside.
getting
Okay,
it.
the Yeti is
Yeah.
starting to to
Good
come out.
point. I think the Dolphin game though will be the first game.
Yeah.
Won't it? Be one of
Oh.
those early Sunday morning
Yeah,
games.
it's at
So-
6:30.
6:30. Yeah, 6:30.
I gotta come in here at 6:30. So maybe I just stayed. You guys make me a couple of Bloody Marys.
Friday night and Saturday. morning.
Saturday night and a Sunday morning, buddy.
I've seen a couple of people do that.
Oh, yeah, we've all been there.
Maybe me included. It's Vegas, baby.
That's it. It's always everything's open.
Yeah,
all the
exactly.
time.
Yeah, exactly.
I go to Fort Lauderdale and I'm like, oh crap, this place isn't open right now.
Exactly.
Fort Lauderdale,
What do you mean you're
Boston.
closing?
Everywhere. It's like, I'm so used to
Go
Vegas.
back home.
Here's an interesting game coming up on Sunday. This is one of the early games on Fox. Vikings 4-4 at the 4-4 Falcons.
Go ahead, Floody. Take this
Well, I
one.
was going to say advantage a little bit because it's the Falcons at home, and you do have that second quarterback there playing for Cousins. So I just get a little edge. I got it.
You think Dobbs plays?
No, they're going to play the rookie. I believe they came out and said that the rookie
Are
will
they-
start. Yeah.
Okay.
The rookie's
All
gonna start.
Well, I think advantage to Atlanta because they're home. I really.
I
do.
would
If it
give
was
the advantage
Cousins,
to them.
I like Cousins.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
they
Oh,
would
Cousins
probably-
was having one of the best seasons he's ever had.
And they'd probably be a 3 to 5 point favorite in Atlanta.
Yeah.
But now I think it's like a pick 'em game or it's a
Yeah, because-
the other way Atlanta's favorite.
You got the gunslinger starting on the other side there with
Like I just
Heineke.
said, man,
you know?
because that home field.
That home field advantage. Yeah, I mean, listen, the defense for Atlanta's been pretty stellar this year. Minnesota's defense, Minnesota's defense has been gaining some steam, but losing Cousins is going to hurt. I mean, that whole offense
Huge.
predicated on the air game. So
Well, and they'd already lost Jefferson.
Yep,
So
Jefferson.
now this is just devastating.
It's not
for
the
them.
fall.
look for a lot of passes to Hawkinson this weekend. So if anybody's got that in your fantasy league right there, he's going to look pretty good.
There you go. And there's your first fantasy outlook right there from Jesse this week. Let's take a look at. I'm going to come back to another game here. So it was right in order. We were just talking about the Seahawks making the trade to get the defensive, to get the edge rusher.
Yeah.
So you got the Seahawks going on the road to Baltimore. Seahawks 5-2, Ravens are 6-2, and we know the Ravens are for real.
Oh yes,
Both
This-
teams.
Both
Yes,
teams are
both
for
teams-
real.
both
Geno
teams are
Smith
for
is
real.
balling.
Yep.
This is going to be one of those games, though, that the Seahawks, they got to go in there and get this game. And if they don't and San Francisco wins, that might flip.
Yeah, you don't want to give up the ground you've gained already on the Niners. The Niners have stumbled. You've gained that ground. It's going to listen. Seattle has a great run defense. Their pass defense is going to be their weakness, and of course, if Lamar Jackson and that wide receiving core is still clicking like they have been the last couple games, I think it might be a long
Do
day
you
for
think
Seattle.
this is a game you might see Lamar Jackson use his feet a little bit more? He's been standing in the pocket a lot more this year.
I don't think so.
Quick update. Tennessee kicked the field goal there, 16-13.
16
Going
13.
on this game with you guys, I'm going to give you. I always see the outside perspective of it. Yes, I think Seattle's playing pretty good ball. They see what they got to do with San Fran in front of them. Baltimore is playing very good ball. Also, here's the key: West Coast team playing a 10 o'clock game on the East Coast.
That's a tough one.
Very
Always tough.
difficult. I like Baltimore.
Well, I think
Yeah.
anytime you go across the country from one coast to the other, you got a
It's
disadvantage.
tough.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's tough.
but if a team from let's use San Fran or let's use Seattle, Seattle goes over and they're playing for our time. It's a 1 o'clock game. Back there, it's a 4 o'clock game.
Right.
They got that extra 3 hours always seems to
It
do
seems
something.
to mess them up.
When they got to play that early 10 a.m. team, most West Coast teams do not travel.
I
out
agree with you.
and play early that morning.
Yep.
Very
Just to
true.
them, it feels like 7 a.m. I think.
Yeah,
Oh, it has to. It has to.
Just
I
crazy.
know, especially when you fly from the West Coast to the East Coast, that lag is really bad.
yes.
That lag is
So
really bad.
that's what I like. I like Baltimore to hold serve at home.
Fantasy outlook in this game. If you have Zay Flowers, play him all day long. I think he has a big game against the Seattle secondary.
I would agree with you.
Yes.
I would agree with you. All right, I'm going to skip forward. There's another marquee game Sunday afternoon, 4:25. You got the Cowboys 5-2 going in to face the 7-1 Eagles at Lincoln Field.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. This is going to be a slugfest, I think. I think you're going to see what Philadelphia is really made of.
Are we going to see
Dallas.
what the Cowboys are really? made
Yeah,
of?
Dallas is heating up lately. Dallas is heating up. I like the second half of the year for Dallas and their schedule. I think Dak starts to get it together. I think he's going to be
Schedule's very
very,
favorite.
very favorite for him.
Cowgirls.
Yeah, exactly.
you know,
Cowgirls.
But I think with this game here, Philadelphia, tough division game and everything else. Dallas, when they get up against a tougher defense and everything else, and maybe a more ball control offense, they seem to sputter a little bit. I like Philadelphia. to win
Yeah, I
this
like
game at
Philadelphia,
home.
especially at home. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
their rush defense, Philly's rush defense has been great. Their pass defense has been kind of suspect. They haven't gotten the pass rush like they have last year.
Well, and it's starting to get cold.
It's yeah,
I mean, if the cold out here is any indicator, it's cold.
it's
everywhere
cold
else.
everywhere else. So I mean, I think this is a high scoring game, but I definitely give it to the home team here in the divisional
Score
matchup.
prediction on this one?
I did this as a high one. I think this is going to be 35-31.
What do
38-31.
There you go.
You know what? I'm gonna have to
Philly.
go with you guys.
Philly.
I'm torn between 35-31 and 38-31, so I'm just going to be different and say 37-31 Philly.
All right.
Well,
Yeah.
all right. Well, on the same page on that.
Yeah, we're on the same page on that one.
All
That
right,
means
this brings us-
everybody bet the Cowboys.
You might be right there.
All right, now the Sunday night game is another interesting matchup. This is one team a little schizophrenic, not exactly sure which one's going to show up, versus a Bengals team that's finally starting to come into their own like they always do. The Bengals seem to always start slow.
Yeah.
But you got the Bengals at home at 4-3 and the Bills 5-3 coming into Cincinnati. And remember, last year it was a Monday night game.
Yeah.
The last
That was-
year
yeah,
on
that
that
was-
same field is when DeMar Hamlin had the cardiac arrest.
Yep.
And then now he's playing for the Bills. He's back playing. It's very, very good story.
In this matchup, I don't know, Flood. I don't know about you, but give me the hot team of right now, and that's the Cincinnati
It's
Bengals.
Cincinnati Bengals.
I think this is going to be a great game too, like the Dallas Philly game and a couple others that we mentioned. I think though, I've been telling you about Cincinnati for the last 3 weeks. It's this game now. He said when November, and now Buffalo's got the same type of weather or whatnot. I don't know. Buffalo's I can't figure them out. One day they're hot, one day they're not. I'll take Cincinnati. Also.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll take
in a
Cincinnati.
good
Yeah.
game, in a
That's
real
the
good game.
yeah,
I think.
absolutely. I think it'll be a good
Like
game, but
28-24.
You think it's going to be that close?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a good game. I'm not sure it's going to be that close. What do you think?
let's see what's the book have the spread as? The book
has
has this as a 2-point spread. So
yeah.
So they're not giving the
Yeah.
Bengals a lot of respect
No.
for home field.
Well, Josh Allen and Buffalo, like I said,
Josh Allen's
if
been
they
that.
show up to play, they're going to be there to play.
Well, it's a matter, is Josh Allen showing up or is Josh Allen?
Yeah,
showing
exactly.
up, right?
Is he gonna sit back, take what the defense gives him, and
Or is
just
he gonna try to
mature,
force
or he's gonna try to force things because he always seems to feel like he needs to put that super cape on
Cincinnati
and
might
carry
be
the
one of
entire team.
He does.
Cincinnati might be one of those defenses that they can force things.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about with Josh Allen. He needs to sit back, let the game come to him. He does it. He's got playmakers around him. Use those guys. Let those guys help you get first downs and move that ball down the field.
You know what? It'll be 28-17, and here comes the backdoor cover.
Oh,
They give him that last. That's where I got the 24.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Should be entertaining.
it should be a good one. I think I'll agree with you. I think 28. 24 is a good point. Is a good one. I like that one. I like the 20
Whoa.
24. I like the 20.
We're gonna nail one.
I think that's going to be great.
We won't
And you're
have
gonna
to
get
do
to hold
lots
the-
of
Yeah.
hat and everything else.
I got to agree with Floody here. My man here, he's got the birthday luck going on. So,
And now the Ric Flair.
oh yeah, there it is. There it is.
in the house. There we go.
All right, we're going to jump over to the Monday night game. That's the Chargers. They're 3-4. They're reeling, and they're coming in against the 4-3 Jets team. That when Aaron Rodgers went down, I don't think anybody thought that this Jets team would be 4-3 7 games into the season.
I sure didn't. I thought the season was over when his Rodgers went down.
So you got to give a lot of credit to their quarterback. He's stepped up.
Mhm.
I mean, his name. I'm
Zach
thinking
Wilson.
Darnold. Zach
Yeah,
Wilson.
Zach Wilson.
I'm thinking Darnold.
Yeah,
and
you're
I'm like,
thinking
no,
Darnold. No.
Darnold.
Darnold, he's played really well the last couple weeks. Oh, man.
Mark Sanchez.
Oh man.
Bring in Joe Willie
Oh,
Namath.
let's not bring that in.
Or Matt Barkley.
Oh wow.
Woo,
man.
you heard it first.
Ouch.
Now, I think the thing that's keeping the Jets ever closer, anything, it's their defense.
It's a
Oh,
defense.
absolutely.
So they're giving this Zach Wilson or whoever else they got to work with a short field and keep them in games. I think the Chargers are a much better team on paper. They don't come out and show what they got on paper all the time. But I'll say this much. That game's in New York, correct?
Yes, that game is in New
That
York.
kills me.
And it comes to what we talked about, the West Coast teams traveling that far east.
Right,
I think that's gonna, I
right.
think that's gonna play.
Well,
another-
I'm not sure because they can travel this whole week, get there and get acclimated. It's not an early Sunday morning game. It's Monday night.
Yeah, it's at 8:15 Eastern time, so-
Yeah, so I really would hope that the Charger team that I know is out there comes to play. That's coming from the Patriots and the Bills and the Dolphin fans because who really likes the Jets? She's the goddamn Jets.
Yeah,
They suck.
J-E-T-S. Suck,
But
suck.
home field this whole week. Home field, yeah, they do suck.
Oh,
The home field advantage is huge, I think, this whole week in a lot of these games. And I think this will be a really close game. And I think low scoring because I think that Jet defense will be able to keep the Chargers off the board. And the Jets offense isn't very good anyways. 19-17. I'm hoping.
ooh, wow, yeah, you're on low. Yeah.
L.A.
LA
Chargers.
Chargers.
Talking
All
the
right.
Chargers.
L.A.
Okay, all
Hey,
right.
your score on that one?
I think it's gonna be a little higher scoring than most people predict. I think the Chargers defense gives up a lot of big plays. Zach Wilson's playing pretty decent football. I think Garrett Wilson and Zach Wilson have a huge game. Throwing a little bit of Brees Hall there and get that run game going. I'm gonna go 24-21 Jets.
Okay, this is one that the Chargers do this quite often. The Chargers have had a history of starting out slow and then coming on at the end of the season, and somehow miraculous. I remember one year, what were they, 1-5, and they ended up making the playoffs, and I think they even went to the divisional round. So, what I like about the Chargers, and I almost called them San Diego because I'm so used to them being San Diego.
Should still be one year.
Or here.
But I really think that this is one of those games that the Chargers are going to dig deep and say, you know what, guys, if we can get to 4-5, we got a shot because they've been in some pretty close games. I mean, the game against the Chiefs, not so close. But other than that, they've been in some close games. They were in that shootout week 1 against the Dolphins. I seriously, and everybody knows I didn't pick the Dolphins to win that week. There's an East Coast team going to the West Coast. We looked horrible against Jacksonville in the preseason finale, and I thought there's no way the Dolphins are prepared to play this game, and we beat them somehow. So again, you've got a Chargers team that's lost some really close, tight games, and this is a Chargers team. It doesn't matter who the head coach is, whether it was Schottenheimer or it's Brandon Staley. It doesn't matter. This is a team somehow figures out a way to dig deep. They're coming in. They're playing against the Jets team that, let's face it, it is Zach Wilson. It is a bad offense for the most part. You've got their big pickup, Dalvin Cook. He's upset. He wanted to trade.
He wants it. Yeah, he wanted out.
He's not going to get it now, but he wanted out of there.
Yeah, I mean,
And you've got a team in the Jets that I just don't see them keeping the intensity going. Something just isn't clicking there. I'm going to pick the Chargers in an upset, 21-17.
yeah. I think that the Chargers' injuries on offense are going to catch up to him. I mean, Josh Palmer could be out for the game. He's day to day with that knee injury. The rookie Quentin Johnson hasn't really shown up this year. Gerald Everett, I believe, is hurt, and that's why they activated one of the tight ends off their practice squad. I just think that offense is in disarray with all the injuries. So give me the defense in this game. Give me the D in this game.
So you're gonna take the Jets.
I'm taking the Jets. That's why. Yeah.
You get the highest score out of the two of us, the three of us.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Hey, listen.
Defense can score
When
points.
you're playing the Chargers and they're the last ranked passing defense in the league, I don't care. You just got to be decent and you can score on this team.
Well, Jets really decent.
They'd make Mac Jones look good.
Whoa. The days keep coming. Hey, it's my birthday, man.
All right. Before we get into the Raiders game and close out with the Dolphins and Chiefs game in Frankfurt, I want to open it up for discussion on what you think everybody needs to be looking out for their fantasy leagues this week.
This week, I mean, this is a huge week. This is a tough one. There's a lot of low scores as far as over and unders, but listen, like the Bills and the Bengals, whatever you can get your hand on in that game, I think that's going to be a huge game. That's slotted, I believe, is an over under at 50. So you're going to get tons of points in that game. Play whoever you've got playing for Cincinnati and the Buffalo Bills. You've got that defense, find somebody else because one of those guys are going to score a ton of points. Dallas and Philadelphia as well. We all agree that's going to be a high score fest.
Yeah.
Play everyone you got in that. I think A.J. Brown continues his dominance. Jalen Hurts is going to be a stud. And like I said, Dak Prescott, I wouldn't be shocked if he was a number one quarterback in the week in fantasy this week.
For a defense this week, would you go with Baltimore considering what they did to Detroit?
I'd go with
Detroit
Cleveland.
went in there?
I'd go with Cleveland playing Arizona Cardinals. Rookie quarterback there as well.
True.
They got a lot of injuries on
I hadn't even thought of
offense.
that one.
No run game. Even then,
still believing.
yeah, and Cleveland is still believing.
Oh,
So
the
they've got
Browns are
something to play
4-3,
for.
and
Yeah,
they-
absolutely.
Outdoor team,
And they're
over
playing
there,
at
indoor,
home.
Outdoor
And they're-
Arizona's got to go into
Yep.
Cleveland.
Yeah, exactly.
Might be a little
Give
shit
me the
weather
Browns
there.
this week as far as defense.
Yep.
You shouldn't go wrong there.
And if Deshaun Watson can get healthy, Cleveland really they're missing
Well, he's
Chubb there at running back
Yeah,
still,
they're-
but
They've got some injuries on there, and Watson's
I like
he
the game
can't quite
plans.
get the massages he used to get, so he can't get healthy as quick.
he's not a happy boy. All right. Come to Vegas. It's a good thing he didn't come to the
Oh
Raiders.
man, that could have been a problem.
All right, let's talk about hometown Raiders. The New York, the G-Men are in town, and the G-Men are 2-6. Where are the Raiders? 3-5.
2-6.
2-6. Both
2-6.
teams 2-6.
No, Raiders are 3-5. I'm sorry,
That's what I thought. I thought the
sorry,
Raiders had a
3-5.
third.
Yeah, that's
had a
right.
third
Yep.
victory.
Yep.
Which is kind of to me, what's really shocking about the Raiders because I thought that they had a little bit more of a team. I didn't like them opening day in Denver.
Mhm.
I just thought Denver was a little bit further along, and I thought the whole Sean Payton thing, and Russell Wilson, I thought Denver was a little bit further along, especially playing at Mile High or Invesco Field, whatever it's called. It won't be called Sam Bankman-Fried Field, that's for sure. He was just found guilty today, as a matter of fact. And anyway, the Raiders are one of those teams that I thought a lot more of them. Obviously, coming out going into week 2 and then so forth, I really thought that you got Josh Jacobs. He was the leading rusher
last year.
The-
Absolutely.
the rushing title. He has not done
No.
anything this year.
No.
Is it the offensive line? Is it the scheme? Is it?
I think it has a lot to do with the scheme they had him playing in. I just
Isn't
don't.
The head coach. He's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. Josh, he had that zone blocking scheme that this offensive line was just awful at, and it opened no holes for Josh Jacobs. So I'd like to see them more run the ball downhill, play helmet to helmet, and just play some gridiron football. But I think this game might rival last week's thrilling matchup between the Giants and the Jets and 15 punts in the first half.
That's incredible. I mean, I don't. That's
Battle of the shit bag.
Yeah, you listen. If you need a good nap, you throw this game on,
You'll fall asleep
and you'll get
29
excitement the
minutes,
last 2
10
minutes. You get the excitement the last 2 minutes.
we have to bring this into the equation at this point because they fired Josh McDaniels. So you got to look around the league. Who are some of the offensive coordinators that teams might have to worry about losing to the Raiders as their new head coach?
That's a great question. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Trying to think of his name. I think you got to look at the OC there in Seattle. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He's done a great job with that offense, keeping that moving and clicking, especially from the transition from Wilson to Smith.
Does what's his name that was with KC? Eric Bieniemy?
Bieniemy.
Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah,
He's now an offensive
coordinator
coordinator
at Washington.
for
with Washington.
Does he finally get his shot as being a
Head coach.
Because a lot of teams have kind of.
That's a great question.
Why not? Look at Mark Davis. If he's got a haircut like that,
And Bieniemy is the new hot flavor, and we discussed that. That's what Mark Davis likes to go after.
Yeah.
So
why not
I
give
could
the
see
guy a
Eric
shot?
Bieniemy being the next head coach of the Las
Did
Vegas
he go to
Raiders.
school in Colorado?
Yes.
Posting up out here.
Yep,
He wanted to be on
well-
the East Coast.
Mhm.
Who wants to be on the come to Vegas, baby?
I
That's where
s-
it's happening.
I saw somebody mention, or maybe it was a meme that I saw today, like on Facebook or Twitter or X, whatever it is. And somebody said, "Hey, Dion,
Oh,
You're not that far
there
from
you
Las
go.
Vegas.
There you go.
I think it's a little too
Nah,
early.
Dion, I think it's a little too early. Kellen Moore is another
Moore is
another name
one.
you got to mention.
what about his name escapes Kevin Zummer at Buffalo's offensive
Ken
coordinator.
Dorsey?
Ken Dorsey.
Ken Dorsey. Ken Dorsey's been listen. He was a solid college quarterback.
Yeah.
He had a decent NFL career as a backup. He's got a good offensive mind. It's harder because Josh Allen sometimes with that offense sputtering. I think the game plan is right. I think just Josh
I think
Allen
it's
doesn't
Josh
execute.
Allen trying to force the
Yeah.
ball a little bit too much. And here's another coach that you got to think of that could be on the radar. He's got some problems, but what about Jim Harbaugh, Michigan?
I think
Here's
that's it.
Here's the biggest question for Harbaugh, though. Okay, if he thinks he's going to use the NFL as a safe harbor because he's going to have some problems
he's
from the
gonna-
NCAA,
exactly.
I think the NFL is making
Hey,
it well known
it
you're
worked
going
out
to
for
serve
Pete
some time
Carroll.
here too.
Right.
Right.
Worked out for Pete Carroll.
Right. But I think the NFL is making a statement at this point saying, no. If you get some sanctions against you, you're not just going to waltz over here to the National Football League and he's probably going to face some.
Yeah,
A
he's
little
gonna
bit of a
he's going to get
suspension
some
even from
stuff
the
going
NFL.
there. And I know with him, he wants full player control. That was his problem when he was with the Niners. He wanted the player control aspect of it, and they didn't want to give that to him. So that was why he went back to college. So it's going to be curious to see if Mark Davis gives that control to him.
If keyword here is if it's a money maker for the NFL and everything else, Harbaugh.
All eyes will be on Harbaugh and the Raiders.
Vegas
He'll
and
be
the
in
Raiders.
Vegas, yeah.
Whoop-de-doo, it's
It's a big name.
because they're making money.
It's going to draw a crowd.
Well,
It's absolutely
And
going
it
to draw a
would be
crowd.
it
The
would be a
NFL
play right
tell
out of
the
his dad's playbook.
Yeah, but the NFL tell the NCAA, let's squash.
Yeah, they'll throw a little.
Here's a couple bucks. You're breeding our kids to come in here and learn. We'll take one of ours back. He did a great job when he was at Sanford.
Yeah,
it was
he
brother
did.
versus brother. I think the lights went out there.
Yeah, the
I
light- yeah,
remember
that was-
the
that was
power
good.
went out in the whole stadium
But,
for
it-
20 minutes.
If it's a money maker, you guys know, man, it's all about the Benjamins,
Yeah,
baby.
that's all it is.
It's all
No,
about
the
the
NFL wants their
Benjamins.
money.
Yep.
And listen, if he does get sanctioned, I can see them being a fine or maybe the Raiders having to give something up as far as draft pick wise to bring him in. But I think they'd be willing to do that for a guy like Jim Harbaugh.
Well, he's definitely a proven winner in the pros and in
in
college. And so he's going to be able to make the transition back to the NFL if he wants to. And I have a feeling right now, as hot as that seat is in Michigan, he's probably saying, "Help,
Yeah.
get me out of here."
Oh, he's looking for it.
For all we know, that Davis has got this guy over here, an intern, but boom, here comes Harbaugh.
And I
Here
think
we
with
go.
this Aiden O'Connell kid, he looked good in the preseason. Yeah, it's a little different now. He got the one start. It didn't look great, but it's a little different when teams start scheming for you rather than playing the preseason where you're
Sure.
going to give that vanilla defense.
Well, and you're also in the preseason. You're not going 100%. You're
And-
not going full speed.
I mean, he was only second at Purdue, only second to Drew Brees, and it was passing touchdowns or passing yards, one of those
Or
categories.
career at Purdue.
Yeah, so he had a great career at Purdue. So I mean, listen, the kid can sling it. Give him a shot. I think he may have something here in Vegas with Aiden O'Connell.
Well, we'll see, because he's going to be, from what I understand, he is going to be the starter, barring injury, for the rest of the season. So that tells you a lot right there.
Just
Garoppolo,
feed Devontae.
where's
Just
he
feed
land next
Devontae.
year?
Oh, Garoppolo.
You know he's not going to want to sit here
Well,
as a backup.
Mac Jones in New England is struggling.
Jimmy G
Who
going
says you
back to
can't
play
go
for Billy
home?
B. If Billy B's even there.
No way.
Oh, he's
no
there.
Way.
He's there.
Reasons
He's
being,
there.
Belichick won't let that happen.
Belichick's not going.
Belichick wanted to get
That's
him out
total
of there
egg on his
anyways,
face right there if he brings him back.
and he's injury prone. He's
Yeah.
long in
Oh,
the tooth.
he's
Those are all things
he's-
Belichick is just gonna
Garoppolo has
Dust
not been the
under the
same since the knee injury the first year he was with the Niners.
right.
And you can see it every time he throws the ball. He looks a little scared.
Yep.
He looks timid to step in the pocket.
Yep.
Everything is step back and throw the ball, which
Let
is
him
why a
become
lot of things
male
fail.
model. All the women love him over
Hey,
here.
man, hey.
At 5 o'clock.
He's
shadow.
working that moneymaker, buddy.
Yeah,
He's working that
sure. There
moneymaker.
he is.
I got one for you. We're gonna
Buddy's place
finagle.
down there.
We're gonna finagle a 3-team trade between the Raiders, the Buccaneers, and the Patriots. Garoppolo goes to Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield goes to New England. And then the Raiders will get a couple of picks
Yeah,
to go with their
sure.
rookie
Mac and
quarterback.
cheese out here.
Well, mac and cheese could come out here, but I got a feeling he's going to be a
Yeah, I
backup
think
to.
mac and-
I'm gonna give you another axe on that because I don't think Belichick will take
Baker?
Baker. He's looked good this year. I mean, you know,
But he's
know
but
what?
the
He
thing
hasn't
is
looked
that he's starting to come back to the Baker baby. He's as good as he's going to get.
Yes.
He's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
going
yeah.
to excel.
there's
much
no
more.
next level with
He's
Baker.
not a guy you put on your fantasy
No.
league unless he's playing against
Yeah.
you know
Yeah, yeah.
Arizona or something.
He's got
like
great receivers there in Tampa with Evans and Godwin and
that.
then
And he's
that
still
crew.
just putting up journeyman type.
Yeah,
numbers.
exactly.
He's not
Yeah,
superstar
no,
material.
no.
And I think Mac Jones will get to finish the season as
As a
Patriot
starter.
quarterback and the starter.
then you guys
unless
have
he gets
Zappe.
a little nicked up or hurt, and then you might see Zappy come in. The fans want to see more of Zappy.
The locker room wants to
I
see
think-
more of Zappy, I
I
believe.
think the locker room does, and I think Belichick does, but Robert Kraft is still another owner that sometimes
And
Yeah,
there you
needs
go.
to
sometimes,
Who's
yeah.
got
Yeah.
control of the
His
roster
opinion,
actually?
and
It's all right.
Is it the
He's
owner
the
or the
mac
coach?
and cheese.
He's another guy just needs a good massage.
Ah,
Hey,
That's all he
I
needs.
give the guy credit, man. His wife had passed away.
Hey,
He didn't have a girlfriend at the
He
time.
was a lonely man. All right. He was a
And-
lonely man. It's
He
okay.
was still
Yeah. Hey.
my
Yeah. Kudos to him.
Kudos.
Kudos to him. Kudos to him.
And nothing ever came of that either.
No, nothing really. Nothing.
Yeah,
It just got
just
swept
swept
right
under
under
the
the rug. So yeah.
Money talks.
Yeah,
Money
baby.
talks.
Yeah,
all right,
baby.
score for Sunday's game: Giants at Raiders.
Oh my lord. I'm gonna take.
0-0 tie.
I think I'm gonna say. I'm gonna. You know what? Here we go. I'm gonna take the Raiders 17-14 just because they're at home.
I'm going the other way. Giants 17-14.
Yeah, I got to say, with all the turmoil, and you got an interim coach. He's only 2 years as a coach in the league. Now he's going to be an interim head coach. The Giants aren't really that bad of a
No,
team. They've
no.
just had some really bad luck this year. Daniel Jones, he's coming back. He's going to
Yeah.
start on Sunday. You got Saquon Barkley. I don't see the Raiders. I see the Raiders actually. Maybe they don't even win another game this year, or maybe one. I'm going to go with the. I'm going to go with the G-men.
You don't want the G
I'm
man.
going to go with the G-men in a
Okay.
low-scoring game, 13-10.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
I mean, this is one of those games that can go either way. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to the last 2 minutes and change and see who
Yeah, I
who
think
makes
it's
something
gonna
happen.
right down to the end.
Yeah,
Some
guys
turnover
exactly.
at the end, a
Yep.
muffed punt.
Yeah,
some-
it's gonna be one of those things where there's a muff punt or some freak play that happens, and it's gonna happen that way. Yeah.
or it's 13-10 at the end of the game, and the Raiders are going down there, and you got a interception in the end
Yeah.
zone. Game over.
Game over.
Boom.
Yeah,
You know,
it'll end some way like that.
It's gonna
Yeah,
end
no,
something like
absolutely.
Yep.
All right, final minutes of the show here, gentlemen, and we come to probably the marquee game of the week.
Yes, it is.
In Frankfurt, Germany. That is the Kansas City Chiefs, basically the home team for this game against the high-flying Miami Dolphins. Floody,
What are she? 6-1.
both teams
Both
are 6 and
6
2.
and 2. Yes. Chiefs are a
Chiefs
point and a half.
coming off
Coming
their
on-
second loss.
Is it
That's
only a
right.
point and a half?
Point and a
It was
half.
2.5 yesterday,
Yeah,
so the
point and a
money's
half.
going on Miami.
Short a little bit of distance to go for the Dolphins. They went in early. We talked about it. Mahomes coming off the bug, I guess. I don't know. I think Kansas City got a little more problems. This will be a very good game that I talked to you guys about earlier a couple of weeks ago. Can the Dolphins beat a good team?
And that's what
I'm not
everybody's
saying
saying.
that Kansas City's a great team right now. They're a good team.
Yeah, there's been something off with Kansas City all year
Mhm.
long.
Right.
Yeah.
Their defense has been playing well.
Yeah.
I would like to see the Dolphins win this game. I really would. Just because the Dolphins are the Dolphins in my division, and I root for them and everything else.
What do you
Maybe
think?
one for the zone.
What do you think for score?
There
What do
you
you think
go.
for score? What do you
We're
think?
gonna score on that game? It should be a little bit on the high flying side because I don't know if Casey can. Tyree Hill want to have a great game against his whole team.
Mhm.
He's pumped.
Keep
He's
Tua
pumped.
straight up and down. Run the pill a little bit. Keep the ball away from Mahomes. That's how you beat him. Give him a couple of more influenza pills so he gets sick. Final score 34-31, the Miami Dolphins.
And
Well,
Pittsburgh just
Jalen Warren runs it in. That was a good run.
There you
So,
go, Angel.
There you go.
There you go.
There's our Schittsburg fan
Yeah.
right
So
there.
yeah. So yeah. That looks like Oh, that looks like I think they're calling him out of bounds here.
Yes,
right,
he is out of bounds.
Oh,
The football is at about, what would you say, probably about the 4-inch line,
yeah,
somewhere in
something
there.
like that, so But getting back to the Dolphins and
You
Kansas
got my
City.
score 30,
Yes.
34-31. Fish.
Here's the big thing, Taylor. You don't want to get sick. Okay, Mahomes has had the flu. You just need to stay away, take a break. I know you've had a busy tour.
She's on tour
Just-
again,
just
though. I don't think she's going to
Stay
be in
home,
Germany.
okay? I'm going with it.
I
If
want
she
her to
stays
stay home
away,
anyway because the Chiefs are doing great when she's in attendance.
I'm gonna take the Dolphins 35-28.
All right. Well, you guys know, and I'm going to say it right out of the gate on this one. I like the Dolphins in this game, not just because I'm a fan of the Dolphins, but you look at what happened last week. Jalen Ramsey came back. He told Coach McDaniel, "I'm going to get a pick 6."
He made an
Did you
impact.
see McDaniel's comment after the game?
No, I missed that.
You got to love McDaniel and his sense of humor because he said, "Frankly, I'm disappointed because he promised me a pick 6, not a pick field goal."
That's great. That is a good
All
one.
right.
That's a good one.
We don't know if Xavier Howard is going to be back for the game. He's still questionable. Actually, he was doubtful, I think, on Monday. He may have been upgraded. They were going to see how he did in practice this week and see if he's going to be able to play. If we get Xavier Howard back, so we've got Howard and Ramsey at cornerback. If we get Javon Holland back, he's out of concussion protocol. That really puts that defensive secondary together for Miami and Vic Fangio in that defense. Then you've got Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips finally healthy, Andrew Van Ginkel, Christian Wilkins, Zach Seiler, all of those guys, Sealer, all those guys playing really good and starting to come into their own in that Vic Fangio defense. I think it's going to be a tough day for Mahomes and the Chiefs. And Taylor, she ain't going to be there from what I understand. So Kelsey's not going to have his
He's not going to have his energy.
Taylor
boost.
type of
Yeah,
game,
exactly.
right? So he's not going to be up at all. And inside joke there, guys. A little adult humor here. But anyway, I just think that the Dolphins are ready for this game, and I think they've got something to prove. They lost to Buffalo, granted in Buffalo. They lost to Philadelphia, granted that was in Philadelphia. Now they're on a neutral field. I think they know they got something to prove. Tyreek's got something to prove against his old team. I'm going Dolphins 28-17.
Nice. I
Oh,
like that. That's a
good.
good one.
All right.
All
All right.
the Dolphins.
Yeah, we're all in the Dolphins.
Closing thoughts, Floody. 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Close one of the things we're looking at is see if Pittsburgh, Schittsburg can get in. I don't know what the
it's
hell
a flag
that
fit.
was.
Yeah, I don't know what's
No
going on
flag?
here. No flag. Well, that
No
looks
flag.
like there was a flag. Looks like first and
But
goal.
it is for
It's
first and
and
goal.
First and goal.
All right.
They'll punch this in.
They can punch it from the 1 yard
Yeah,
line.
take the lead here.
Just that we're down here. We do it for Maddie's. Cold beer open 24/7. So is the kitchen. So the drinks are good. Come down and tell Stephanie behind the bar, who's a Brownie fan. Go
Sure.
Brownies.
Yep. And
Come on in and
come
see
on
it.
in and
Down here.
celebrate.
Watch a show.
Party
and-
with us. Watch the game.
Yep.
And guys, if you guys have any fantasy ambition, follow me at Vegas Guys Locker Room. Anywhere you can get podcasts, I'm always on every week.
Absolutely.
And as we sign out, it is 1916 Pittsburgh. They just scored a
Just scored a
touchdown.
touchdown.
So
There
with
it
the
is.
extra point, it'd be 20-16 with 4 minutes and 2 seconds left to go in the game. I'm Brad Michaels along with Floody and Jesse for First and Mad right here at Mad Maddie's 8100 West Sahara. We'll see you next week right back here on First and Mad.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.